what are the bandwidth savings you're seeing with HEVC over H.264?
So it ranges depending on resolution. So when you're looking at HD resolutions and 4K resolutions, it's easy sometimes to see savings, between 25 and 40% with HEVC over AVC. And so some of those, promises, right, of bitrate savings that, we expected from HEVC, like, do come true at the higher resolutions. But then as you go down in resolution and, you still have to support a full encoding ladder. And so often, you find yourself encoding, 320 by 180 video. The bitrate savings are not as huge, right? And so I would say across the board, the bitrate savings end up averaging out probably closer to 15 or 20% over ABC.
Okay. What about the cost side? I mean, let's discuss two costs. One is encoding both formats, and the other is the caching efficiency. So why don't you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a higher compute cost for HEVC, though I think the encoders have gotten a lot better over the last several years, and also, most cloud computing platforms have also improved in terms of their CPU offerings, and so we have, highly multi-threaded CPUs available in the cloud. Most encoding these days is parallelized as well, right? So if you're building a video transcoding platform that needs to handle very high volume of content. You're going to parallelize it so that you're not necessarily encoding one video on one machine. You're going to spread it out across multiple machines. And so when we do it that way, the compute cost increase from HEVC, it's certainly there, but it's not so significant that it would prevent us from doing HEVC. And so we're definitely like reaching a point where I think HEVC encoding is going to become cheap enough that it'll almost seem like a free add-on on top of the AVC encoding. And sorry, your other question was about the fragmentation of caching.
Yeah. What's that look like for you?
I mean, I haven't seen much of an impact from that because, all of our devices support AVC. And so obviously, like, that's going to be highly cached. I mentioned that over 75% of devices support HEVC. And so, we're getting a lot of, caching efficiency for HEVC as well. So yeah, like I would say, like, we haven't seen any negative impact of quality of experience due to caching fragmentation.
What about cost? Aren't you paying for 2x the caching, or are you reducing the?
Yeah, I mean the cost is it's interesting. I feel like a lot of times it's assumed that there's a direct one-to-one mapping between CDN cost savings and the bitrate savings from the more advanced codecs. And what I've found is that that's simply not the case because if everybody in the world had unlimited bandwidth, if we all had unlimited, connection speeds, then that would perhaps be true. But in reality, right, if you reduce the bitrate, for example, of your 1080p encode from 6 megabits in AVC down to, let's say, like 4.5 megabits in HEVC, somebody who's in a 3 megabit connection is still going to get 3 megabit video, right? So, like, you're not necessarily reducing the amount of data you're delivering to those people. And as it turns out, there's still a lot of population, not just in the US, but certainly around the world, right, that has, connection speeds that are below 4 or 5 megabits a second. And so the CDN savings end up being probably closer to 5 or 10% if you're saving like 20% on bitrate overall. So it's definitely not a one-to-one mapping between those two.